Good, af- Good afternoon and welcome to the judges, teachers, guests, and participants of FRSIS 2024. Now, I'd like to introduce our judges today. The Chief Judge is Mr. Muhammad Firdaus bin Muhammad Isa, Head of Department Corporate Communication Department, Idaman Sendirian Berhad. The second judge is Miss Adela binti Ahmad from SM Sultan Abdul Halim. The third judge is Miss Cassandra Charles Kemper from SMS Labuan. And I, Muhammad Faiz bin Ahmad Zaidi from Sekolah Menengah Sains Tengku Abdullah were the timekeepers. Ahmad Ryan bin Muhammad Haris and Muhammad Akmal Azani bin Halmi are from Sekolah Menengah Sains TUANKU PUTRA Perlis. Now, let me allow me to read the rules. Each team should consist of presenters and a technical assistant. The presentation must focus on the sub-theme assigned to the team. The duration of the presentation should not be more than 10 minutes. The bell will be rung once at the 9th minute and twice at the 10th minute. A question and answer session will be conducted after each presentation. Now, let us welcome the team from CAÐALOÞLU Anatolian High School, Turkey, ST5. Please share your screen and get ready for your presentation.
Good morning, dear viewers, participants, and honorable members of the jury. We deeply appreciate your presence and attention today. Our team has been exploring the urgent issue of climate change and its potential lead to collapse of human civilization. We are excited to share our findings and proposed solutions with you.
So who are we? We are Team 1 from CAÐALOÞLU High School, dedicated to addressing the critical issue of climate change. Our team members include Mert Daniel Önal, Emine Kitapçı, Defne Zeraf Çökel, and Emre Zektaş, that's me, with supervisor teacher Gülsüm Daycı. Together we have conducted extensive research to understand the multifaceted impacts of climate change and explore effective strategies to combat it.
In this presentation, we will discuss several key topics, the importance of addressing climate change and its potential pathways to civilizational collapse, a concerning case study on Somalia, highlighting the real-world impacts of climate change, statistical data that underscore the urgency of the situation, our proposed solutions to mitigate and adapt to these challenges, and finally, we will conclude with a brief summary and our call to action.
Climate change poses a significant threat to the stability of our civilization. Its impacts include resource scarcity, economic disruptions, mass migrations, political instability, and public health crisis. These factors are interconnected and can create a vicious cycle and degradation and conflict. For example, global temperature rise leads to more frequent and severe weather events, such as hurricanes, droughts, and heat waves. These events can destroy crops, destroy supply chains, and displace communities, exacerbating resource scarcity and economic stability.
Sea level rise is another critical issue. As polar ice caps melt and ocean temperatures increase, sea levels rise, threatening coastal communities with flooding and erosion, ocean acidification caused by increased carbon dioxide absorption, harms marine life and disrupts fisheries, which are vital sources for food and income for millions of people. Biodiversity loss further exacerbates these issues by weakening ecosystems that provide essential services such as pollination, water purification, and climate regulation.
Let's take a closer look at Somalia. A country severely affected by climate change, Somalia faces persistent droughts and water scarcity, leading to widespread crop failures and food insecurity. Health crises are rampant, with malnutrition and disease outbreaks becoming more common. The collapse of agriculture, a primary livelihood for many, has led to economic instability and increased conflict over dwindling resources. Women and children are particularly vulnerable, facing heightened risks of violence and exploitation in this precarious environment.
According to various studies, climate change is accelerating at an alarming rate. Global temperatures have risen by approximately 1.1 degrees Celsius since the pre-industrial era, with projections indicating a potential rise of 3 to 4 degrees Celsius by the end of the century. If current trends continue, extreme weather events have increased in frequency and intensity, causing billions of dollars in damages and affecting millions of lives. Sea level have risen by about 20 centimeters over the past century, with projections of up to 1 meter by 2100, posing severe risks to coastal communities.
Ocean acidification has increased by 30% since the Industrial Revolution and disrupting marine ecosystems and threatening fisheries. Biodiversity loss is occurring at an unprecedented rate, with estimates suggesting that up to 1 million species at the risk of extinction within the next few decades. These statistics underscore the urgency of taking immediate and decisive action to mitigate the impacts of climate change and protect our planet's future.
To address these challenges, we propose several strategies: sustainable resource management, implementing practices that ensure the efficient use of conservation resources such as water and energy, transition to renewable energy, reducing reliance on fossil fuels by investing in solar, wind, and other renewable energy sources, development of climate resilient infrastructure, building infrastructure that can withstand extreme weather events and rising sea levels, policy and governance reforms, enacting policies that promote environmental protection, sustainable development, and climate resilience, community engagement and communication, educating and involving communities in climate action in its ways to ensure widespread participation and support.
Mitigation and adaptation are crucial in combating climate change. Mitigation involves reducing greenhouse gas emissions to slow down global warming. This can be achieved through energy efficiency measures, transitioning to renewable energy, and protecting forests and other carbon sinks. Adaptation involves making adjustments to social, economic, and environmental practices to minimize the damage caused by climate change. This includes building flood defenses, developing drought-resistant crops, and improving public health systems to cope with new challenges.
In summary, climate change presents a significant threat to the stability of our civilization. Its impacts are wide-ranging and interconnected, affecting every aspect of our lives. However, by understanding these impacts and implementing effective strategies, we can mitigate these risks and build a more sustainable and resilient future.
We urge you to take action, support policies and initiatives that promote sustainability and climate resilience. Educate yourself and others about the impacts of climate change and the importance of taking action. Participate in community efforts to reduce carbon footprints and protect natural resources. Together, we can make a difference and create a better world for future generations.
Thank you for listening. We appreciate your attention and hope our presentation has shed light on the urgent need of climate action. Let's work together to create a better world for future generations.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's the Q&A session. I invite the audience to ask questions. Now, I would like to invite the judges to ask the questions.
Thank you for your presentations. My question is regarding the policy and governance. So, would you mind to elaborate further what action has been taken in terms of the policy and governance in Somalia to tackle for these women and children?
Um, Thank you for your question. Um, to improve the life quality, policies such as improving water resources should be made because most of the women and children dying for the reasons by forgetting water, they get killed on their way to get water. So that's the main problem to security of the women and children.
Is there any new policy has been established for this purpose?
Yes, Somalia has made new policies about water resilience in 2012.
Hi, hello from Malaysia. Okay, I have two questions. Okay, my first question is very simple. What made you choose Somalia? Okay, that is my first question. My second question is what are the consequences of climate change for Somalia's security and agriculture?
I can answer the first question. The thing is, I had a friend from Somalia, and his story has influenced me. And then I had the idea to present the country Somalia in this presentation, which has really caught my attention. Can I listen the second question one more time?
The second question, is it? The second question is, what are the consequences of climate change for Somalia's food security and agriculture? Clear.
Thank you. Because of the climate change, Somalia is facing food scarcity and also water problems. And according to studies, this has increased because of the climate change. And since then, they are trying to take steps about it. They're trying to make new policies about it.
Still have time. Okay, maybe a last questions. We always heard about think global, act local. So in this crisis, how to think global and act local to mitigate the issues?
Can you please repeat the question?
We always heard about think global, act local. So in order to mitigate the issues in Somalia, especially on the women and also children. So from your point of view, how to think global and act local for this crisis?
If I understood your question correctly, you're asking for a different aspects from global and local? Well, I think there's not a big difference between global actions and local actions because since climate action and climate change is a global issue and only has local problems or local issues.
Thank you, the judges, for all the questions. We have come to the end of our friends presentation from Turkey. Thank you for the interesting and informative presentation. Online participants, you may leave the streamer studio. Thank you for joining us. Now, let us welcome the team from St. Mark's Public Secondary School, India ST5. Please share your screen and get ready for your presentation.
So, ma'am, may we begin? Namaste. We, the students of St. Mark's Senior Secondary Public School, Mirabag, are here to present our research on climate change. The term climate change refers to notable, long lasting modifications or changes to the Earth's long term climate patterns. Changes like changes in temperature, precipitation, and weather patterns are involved, with global effects on ecosystems, communities, and economies. Our interpretations. We believe that various factors like political views, cultural beliefs, scientific data, and individual experiences have an impact on how one understands climate change. Different reactions and policies may result from people downplaying its importance or even denying its existence, while others may view it as a serious global threat which requires immediate action. Causes of climate change. There are one too many causes why climate change is occurring. These include both natural as well as human factors. Human activities like burning fossil fuels, deforestation, industrial processes, and agriculture and greenhouse gases into the atmosphere traps heat and upsets the Earth's natural equilibrium. With these are the main causes of climate change. Furthermore, variations in solar radiation and volcanic eruption are examples of natural phenomena that contribute to climatic swings. Human causes. Human activities such as agriculture, deforestation, industrial processes, and many more worsen the impact of climate change on Earth, which results in increased global temperatures, rising sea levels, extreme weather, a decline in biodiversity, and problems for ecosystems and livelihoods. Vulnerable communities such as low income people and disadvantaged groups suffer the most from the effects.
question is, when evaluating the public's knowledge, attitudes, and views on climate change, surveys are essential. They offer insightful information about climate change and provide clear explanations of scientific evidence. Surveys also provide insights into public perception and policy choices. They help shape policies and policy decisions.
I'm so sorry for the inconvenience. There has been some issue with one of my uh, team members' internet, and I'll be taking over the presentation on his behalf. Um, Natural causes. Although natural forces have historically affected climate change, human actions are the main source of current climate change. Volcanic eruptions, variation in solar radiation, and changes in Earth's orbit are some natural activities that affect climate change. It is essential to comprehend both natural and human induced elements in order to create mitigation and adaptation plans that work. Methods of analysis. We were able to comprehend the intricate dynamics of Earth's climate system thanks to methods involving surveys, observations, interviews, and group discussions. When evaluating the public's knowledge, attitudes, and views on climate change, surveys are essential. They offer insightful information about knowledge gaps, misunderstandings, and priorities that help shape policy making, communication, and educational initiatives that support climate resilience and mitigation technique. Here are a few graphs from the survey we had circulated to gather better knowledge about climate change. Here we present to you an interview conducted with Ms. Manisha Pathak to know her insights on climate action.
Good afternoon, ma'am. We students of St. Mark's are conducting an interview, a research on SDG 13, and we would like to know your views on it. So my first question is, what are your views on SDG 13 and its functioning?
Climate action as in like what are we as earthlings doing, or what are we doing as Indians? In what context are you asking?
Ma'am, as of what Indians or the earthlings are doing to implement SDG 13?
Okay,
Yes.
right. So, Yuvika, what as a teacher, as we students in St. Mark's, we do our bit. But the thing is that I mean, as an individual, as a human being, now I have started at this point of my age or my condition. I think that too much of voice is being raised, and in the process, we are polluting the earth even further. Like, for example, uh, climate action, all that, and still we people are so materialistic. Matlab, we all, most of us have 2 3 cars. We use the climate has become so hot that we have to use ACs. It's getting hotter by the year. So whatever it is, El Nino or whatever it is, right? So all this climate action, we need to be less materialistic. That is what I think. And simpler lifestyles, I think then we'll do our bit so that the prosperity that is our future generation. They are left with some good things. We just don't leave garbage for them.
Why should we act now? We must act now to preserve nature to ensure the health and well being of future generations, as biodiversity loss and environmental degradation directly impact human survival. Immediate action is crucial to mitigate climate change, prevent the extinction of species, and maintain ecosystem services that support clean air, water, and food supplies. Delaying action will lead to irreversible damage, higher costs, and more severe consequences for both the planet and humanity.
India is especially exposed to the effects of climate change, given its size, diversity, and fast expanding economy. Climate change in India has led to increased frequency of extreme weather events such as heat waves, heavy rainfall, and flooding. Severely affecting agriculture, water resources, and the livelihood of millions. Rising sea levels and changing monsoon patterns further exacerbate the challenges faced by urban and rural communities alike. Australia faces significant impact of climate change, including intense bushfires, prolonged droughts, and coastal erosion, with threatened biodiversity, water supply, and infrastructure. The Barrier Reef, a critical natural asset, is experiencing severe bleaching due to the rising sea level. The 2011 earthquake in Japan, a magnitude 9.0 event, triggered a devastating tsunami that caused widespread destruction, thousands of deaths, and the Fukushima nuclear disaster. Highlighting the country's vulnerability to natural disasters, the aftermath led to significant changes in Japan's energy policy and disaster preparedness measures. The above three case studies show the devastating impacts of climate change and how crucial it is to reduce its impacts. We can protect our environment by adopting sustainable practices such as reducing waste, conserving water, and minimizing the use of single use plastics. Supporting renewable energy resources like solar and wind power helps reduce carbon emissions. Additionally, protecting natural habitats, promoting reforestation, and encouraging biodiversity conservation are essential steps. Individual actions combined with strong environmental policies and community efforts can significantly contribute to environmental protection. In order to develop low carbon technology and practices, strategies include switching to renewable energy sources, increasing energy efficiency, protecting wetlands and forests, encouraging sustainable agriculture and transportation, and encouraging innovation and teamwork.
Nature maintains stability through mechanisms like carbon and water cycles, which regulate climate and support life. Biodiversity and ecosystems provide resilience, allowing natural systems to recover from disturbances and sustain balance. Decreasing trash, planting trees, recycling, and other climate friendly activities can all have a big impact on decreasing the effects of climate change. These images highlight the environmental stewardship and sustainability initiatives of our school, encouraging people to get involved and make a positive impact on a healthier, greener world. The first slide showcases our work on SDG 11, followed by SDG 12, and then our SDG of focus, SDG 30. In conclusion, our research underscores the urgent need for comprehensive strategies to combat climate change, highlighting the critical roles of reducing greenhouse gas emissions, enhancing renewable energy adoption, and preserving natural ecosystems. Immediate and collaborative global action is essential to mitigate the severe impacts on our environment, economy, and society, ensuring a sustainable future for generations to come. Thank you. India signing off. Team India signing off.
Thank you for your presentation. Now, I would like to open the session for the Q&A session. I invite the audience to ask questions. If there are none, I invite the judges to ask the questions.
Okay, thank you to the presenters. My question is especially on the human impact on climate. In regards to waste management, uh, what is the best practices uh, for waste diversion to landfills in order to mitigate this risk?
Thank you, sir, for your question. I think in order to divert waste from going into landfills, we need to stop generating that kind of a waste altogether. We need to switch to renewable, we need to cut off plastic, and we need to pick up renewable resources and substances that are easy to decompose. Secondly, one of the greatest methods of preventing plastic or any other substance going into landfill, our school has been following the system of creating eco bricks, which are basically we take plastic bottles, and for example, if it's a 1 liter bottle, we take 1 liter of plastic or any kind of waste that we can find, and we fill it inside the bottle, and then we use that to create furniture, wall hangings, or anything that is used to enhance our school property. So I think the most important way to mitigate waste from going into landfills is to stop it altogether. And I know that will take work, that will take a lot of time. So we need to reduce on the amount that is being generated.
Okay, all right. This is another question. Okay, I wonder what are Indians' government initiatives to reduce the impact of climate change to its people, right? Okay, the Indians' government's initiative to reduce the impact, okay, of climate change to its people.
Ma'am, the Indian government has taken up many projects like the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan project, and also the Ganga project, which we used to. The Ganga project is taken up to clean our main holy river Ganga, and the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan was introduced in 2014 by our former Prime Minister and current Prime Minister Narendra Modi to clean India. And there are also many awareness campaigns and workshops that take place to fight against climate change. Thank you.
Okay, hi, hello. Okay, so from your presentation, I can draw one conclusion that the world is aiming towards a more greener and resilient future. But I would like to know what are the biggest challenges your country, India, faces in reducing its carbon emission? Thank you.
Yeah, there's not much in education in people. Like there are lot. India has a lot of population, so people are not much educated. In rural areas, people just do slash and burn agriculture, which increases the carbon the
Ma'am, I would like to continue as I think he's facing a few network issues. So basically, in India, we have a huge population, and we are short on making people aware. So what we require right now is to host more awareness campaigns for the people, go into rural areas, especially to villages, to offbeat places where people require the kind of awareness. Because as my core team member mentioned, that the slash and burn agriculture practice has been going on since decades or even centuries in India. And I think that is something that people think that because it has been going on for tens and twenties and hundreds of years, it should continue to go on. But now that considering that technology has made development, we are progressing into a more modern society. I think we need to make people aware of the technologies that have come up and that can be used now to reduce carbon emissions.
Thank you, the judges, for all the questions. We have come to the end of our friend's presentation from India. Thank you for your interesting and informative presentation. You may leave the StreamYard studio. Thank you for joining us. Now, I would like to invite the MATTHAYOMKOHMARK School from Thailand.
Test. No. Hello.
Now, I would like to invite MATTHAYOMKOHMARK School to present.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First, I would like to introduce my teams. My name is Nantavat Somsang.
My name is Sanyawundi.
My name is Kitishai Tongkham.
We are from
Mattthayomkohmark
School. Swadika.
A present day to everyone. Today we are going to present about our project, the impact of climate change on fishery in Songkhla Lake and the adaptation strategy of the fishing community. First, let's get to know the origin and importance of the projects.
Climate change, the topic of significant concern today, as it had both direct and indirect impact on ecosystem and human livelihood worldwide. These changes include variations in climate patterns, such as rising temperature, altered rainfalls, and increasing sea levels. All these factors affect various ecosystems, including fisheries, which are crucial sources of income and food for many communities.
The Songkhla Lake is a crucial water body on the southern regions of Thailand, renowned for its biodiversity and as a habitat for various fish species. Climate change had had a clear impact on Songkhla Lake, leading to a decline in both the diversity and population of fish species. This in turn affects the livelihoods and income of fishermen in the area.
This research aims to study the impact of climate change on fishery in Songkhla Lake, with the goal of understanding the overall problems and proposing appropriate adaptation strategy of the fishing community. This will help fishermen cope with change and sustainably manage fishery resources.
Objective first, to investigate the impact of climate change on fishery in Songkhla Lake. Second, to propose adaptation strategy and measure for fishing community to adapt the challenges posed by climate change.
Research questions. First, how does the temperature change in Songkhla Lake impact the species and population of fish residing in the areas? Second, how does climate change affect the growth and reproduction cycle of key fish species in Songkhla Lake?
Respondent fishermen in Songkhla Lake, residing in Kohmark subdistrict, engaged in fishing occupation for more than 2 years. Total of 30 individuals.
Research methodology, meteorological data collection, collect data on temperature, rainfall, and sea levels over the past several years from reliable sources, such as the meteorological department or related agency. Survey and fishery data collections. Surveillance collect data on fish populations, fish species, and the fishing yields of fishermen in the Songkhla Lake, and retrofield and interviews.
Interviews and survey of fishermen opinions. Conduct interview and survey to gather fishermen opinion on change in fishery and the impact they face, aiming to collect in-depth information about their experience and perspective.
Data analysis. First, analyze the collect data to identify the impact of climate change on fishery, such as the decline in fish population, change in fish species, and reduced fishing yields. Second, analyze change in climate characteristics that affect fish food, sources, and habitats.
Proposing adaptations measures. First, surveys opinion on adaptation strategy and make sure that fishermen use to cope with climate change. Second, suggest measures for managing fishery resources in Songkhla Lake to ensure future sustainability.
Research results and discussions. The result highlight the significant impact of climate change on fishery in Songkhla Lake, which can be categorized into several aspects. Water temperatures. Change in water temperature affects the type of fish that can inhabit the lake. Some species may not be able to adapt to this change, resulting in a decline in fish populations.
Water levels and salinity. Variation in water levels due to uncertain rainfall or rising sea levels can alter the lake environment, reducing fishing areas. Change in water salinity impact aquatic life and decrease the presence of certain fish species. Ecological changes. Climate-induced change can destabilize the lake ecosystem, leading to a reduction in biodiversity and affecting the food chain.
Impact on fishing community. A decrease in fish populations had economics on repercussions on fishing yields and the income of fishermen, thus affecting the economy of fishing community. Fishing community may need to adapt by seeking alternative livelihood or career presenting significant challenges.
Adaptation strategy. Sustainable fishery development. Fishermen adaptation using sustainable fishing techniques and fostering awareness of climate change impact. Ecosystem restoration and conservation. Initiative to restore fishing areas and conserve natural resources can help mitigate the impact of climate change.
Benefits. First, then comprehensive insight into how climate change affects fish populations, species distributions, and fishing gear in Songkhla Lake. Second, develop to propose effective adaptation strategy and make sure to help fishing community cope with the impact of climate change. Third, further sustainable management practice for fishery resources and contribute to the restoration of the Songkhla Lake.
Guideline for addressing the conservation and restoration of aquatic life in Songkhla Lake. Your volunteer from CAÐALOДLU University participate in a fish house construction activities. This initiative aims to provide habitat for juvenile aquatic animals and spawning areas. contributing to the conservation, restoration, and increase of aquatic life in Songkhla Lake.
The event was a collaboration between the Kokmak Subdistrict Network Management Center, local administrative organizations, the Songkhla Lake Basin local community sanity for sustainable health project, the Ban Pla Conservation Club of Ban Nam Mark, residents of Kokmak Subdistrict and students from MATTHAYOMKOHMARK School.
Suggestion. First, promote understanding among stakeholders regarding the impact of climate change on fishery by providing scientifically accessible information and easy to understand technique.
Second, support the development of adaptive culture fishing communities, including sharing experience and learning about successful adaptation methods. Third, advocate for policy that support adaptation to climate change, including policy that promote environmentally friendly technologies.
Thank you for your attention. It was a pleasure being here today. ขอบคุณค่ะ
Thank you for, pardon me. Thank you for your presentation. Now, I would like to invite the participants to ask questions.
Good afternoon. My question is, what are other factors that can lead to declining population of fishes in the water?
Can you repeat your questions?
What are other factors that can lead to the declining population of fishes in the water?
Change in water temperature affects the type of fish that can inhabit the lake. Some species may not be able to adapt to this change, resulting in a decline and fish populations.
I would like to invite the judges to ask the questions.
สวัสดีครับครับ Okay, my questions regarding the advocate on the policy. So you would like to advocate in the policy. So we would like to know what are the action taken by the Songkhla district governments, right, on tackling these issues. So your study on the impact of climate change on fishing in Songkhla Lake, right? The Songkhla Lake is in the Songkhla district. Is it?
Songkhla Lake is a
Songkhla Lake is in Songkhla.
yes,
Okay.
province.
In province, Songkhla province. So is there any action taken by the governments of Songkhla or Thailand's government itself? Oh, you're talking about advocacy, the policy. So my question is there any action taken by the Thailand or Songkhla province government in tackling this issue?
Some fish may be not able to adapt. Cruising, cruising fish population in decline. Yes.
Okay. Still have time or what? Okay. Last time. Okay. Maybe a last questions. You are talking about stakeholders engagement just now on your slide. Stakeholders management. So, is there any specific practice or any best practices in order for us to engage with the stakeholder?
Sorry.
Hello. Could you again, please?
Repeat again.
Another question. Another question.
Okay. Sawadika. Okay. All right. My question is simple. You mentioned in your slide about sustainable fishing techniques. Okay, maybe you could elaborate more on that. Sustainable fishing techniques. You mentioned that in your slide.
They have to answer or not? Not yet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation.
Yeah, okay.
The teacher is my friend lah. These few days, and she said he does with my kid.
Testing.
Yeah. We were rooming and
Maybe.
Testing.
Test.
Now, I would like to invite SBPI SELANDAR to present their presentation.
Assalamualaikum and very good evening to our respectful judges, our dashing moderators, alert timekeepers, the reporters and every one of us. First of all, let me introduce ourselves. My name is Shasha Shafika and this is my partner Sayyidah Batrisha, our technical assistant Muhammad Arif Shazwan and our reporters Shakir Shafi. Ladies and gentlemen, picture a world ravaged by relentless storm, devastating wildfires and rising seas. The climate change is accelerating, threatening our planet and our future. As your presenters today, we will confront you about the harsh truth about this crisis and discuss about the urgent action we must take. For the past few weeks, we have conducted a research regarding our sub-themes, which is SDG 13, Climate Apocalypse, a collapse of human civilization. After a discussion, we've come up with an interesting status quo called domestic touring willingness for green tourism. This is our agenda for today. Now, without further ado, let us look at each agenda one by one. As for our research background, we chose Central Melaka district as this location have fulfilled our needs in the research. Reason why we chose this location is because they have strong tourist attraction as they are popular with historical spots with 12.5 million visitors each year. They also rich in heritage architecture and unique mix of culture. This makes the local tourists attracted to them. But honestly, the main reason we chose this location is because Melaka is one of the states that actively conducted many initiatives with the Sustainable Development Goals. For instance, Melaka State Climate Action Plans and Strategies 2020 to 2030. They make many actions to strengthen the governance, to combat climate action, and to reduce disaster risk toward green growth and reduce and enable better resource management. However, does the local tourists aware of this action? Does the local tourist perception align with this action? First of all, let's look at the issues that are related with the tourists and Melaka. As you can see, 7.37 million of domestic tourists flooding this small state. This number doesn't include with international tourists or citizens in Melaka itself. Can you imagine how packed these states are? Undeniably, tourists were affected by the climate change, such as flood and high temperature. But little did they know, tourism itself is one of the leading factors towards climate change. As you can see in the pie chart, roughly 60% goes to commercial institutional buildings and facilities. You see, when tourists came to Melaka, tourism sector will build new buildings such as hotel, cafe, and anything enjoyable for the tourists who came. Surely, when they make new construction, they will let out greenhouse gas emission. But there's more. Roughly 25% is on-road transportation. When tourists came to travel to Melaka, would they walk? Obviously, they will use car, buses, or taxi. Am I right? This act is also contribute to greenhouse gas emission. Next, Next, domestic tourists doesn't travel abroad because they have money constraint. They travel in Malaysia, for instance, Melaka, in our case. However, would they willing to pay more for green services despite having money constraint? Lastly, if international tourists came to Melaka, would tourists local tourists be the perfect green practitioner? Our next agenda, research question and methodology. For the first two questions, we use quantitative method. We've conducted 15 self-administered Google Form questionnaire. In this questionnaire, we've provided with Likert scale, yes or no questions. For the third question, we use qualitative method, where we conducted an interview with a food and beverages owner. And here's the result. From the data, you can see that female likes to travel more than male. And the first pie chart, we can make a certain assumption that majority of our respondents is already have a job. Now, our second pie chart, more than half percent have already have a stable monthly income. Now, tourist purposes of traveling to Melaka. 55% goes to food, 25% heritage and handicraft, ecotourism and shopping and entertainment both have 10% respectively. Now, looking back at food, it seems harmless, but it also the leading factors of climate change caused by local tourists. How can food be the factors? It's not about food. It's about the material that they use and, of course, how the tourists dispose the mess they make after they buy a takeaway. For the next slide, I'll pass them to my partner. Saida, this studio is yours.
Thank you, Shasha. Well, imagine 7.37 million of tourists is using single-use plastics and non-biodegradable food packaging. These materials will take ages to decompose and eventually polluting our earth. However, based on our questionnaire, there is a good signal where 35% of the tourists bring reusable water containers. And I believe this is all because of the trendy tumblers, which is very popular, especially among women who loves adorable and cute things. Despite of that, it is still quite disheartening to see the equal percentage of willingness and unwillingness to practice recycling while traveling, as I think it is because of the hardship that they face to sort the bricks. Moving on to the next slide, we will talk about accommodation. Accommodation is also a leading factor that should be looked at, as most of the local tourists who stays in Melaka will at least stays 2 nights in the weekends, and they will use a lot of water and energy. While many of them conserve the energy by switching off the electricity when leaving their room, yet budget constraint will prevent them from paying extra for a green lodging, which will reduce the demand for eco-friendly options. As a result, the hoteliers will not cater them to the needs of green accommodation. And lastly, we also asked the respondents about the efforts made by the state, which is Malacca's car-free zone during weekends. This program actually helped to reduce the traffic congestion during weekends, but actually it also gives inconvenience to the tourists, as they think it will be a hassle for them to be at the city center, and therefore this indicates that the state needs to find more options for a better sightseeing experience. For the solutions, we've come up with an idea, which is designing an app, which contains brochures and online information that discuss about the impact of tourism and benefit of green habits. The app also provides recommendations of efficient public transport to aid car-free zone in Melaka. Moreover, the app also helps the tourists to find the restaurants around Melaka City by highlighting local business that prioritize sustainability. And lastly, the app offers discount rebate, incentives, and rewards to tourists who engage in eco-friendly activity. The conclusion is, combating climate change in tourism requires collective efforts, including stakeholders and local tourists. By practicing green habits, we can create a better future for us and our next generation. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. Now, I would like to invite the audience to ask the questions.
Hello. I'm from Sekolah Menengah Sains TUANKU PUTRA, and one question that I have in mind is, what are the other factors of economic industries in Malaysia that can lead to the acute change in the Earth's climate?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Sorry. What are the other factors of economic industries in Malaysia that can lead to the acute change in the Earth's climate?
So to answer the question, in my opinion, I think especially in the city center, most of what is the main factor is that the the building that is being occurred by time to time, and what I can say is it's uncontrollable, and due to that, many of the emission, many of greenhouse gases will be emitted by that action. Thank you.
I will now invite the judges to ask the questions.
Okay, thank you. Couples of questions. One, regarding the GHC, you mentioned when people travel to Melaka, and in terms of on-road transportation will increase, then will contribute to the GHC will increase, right? When people travel to Melaka, on the road transportation itself will increase the GHC. Guys,
I'm sorry.
when people travel to Melaka, in terms of road transportation on the road, then it will help to increase the GHC. So it is not good in terms of your presentation. So what is the best solution in order for the Melaka government to tackle on that matters on the road transport? That is the first question. And second question, we know already Melaka is a heritage building, and most of the hotel is under the UNESCO, so they need to pay the heritage fees. So by having that heritage fee, what else that this hotel can promote towards the green hotel or green accommodation?
So for the first question, I believe is that you asked how does Melaka state, Melaka government should tackle the problem due to the road transportation. So as for me, for now, what Melaka has done is the car-free zone, and I believe the Melaka government should actually, when they make the car-free zone program during the weekends, therefore they should also provide public transportation, and the public transportation can occupy many people at the same time. Therefore, the GHG emission, I believe, the GHG emission will be lesser than the weekdays. So- For the second questions,
Heritage fee. We paid at the hotel.
can you repeat the question, please?
Okay.
Thank you, the judges and the audience, for all the questions.
Hello.
Test, test,
Hello.
test.
1, 2.
Now, I would like to invite the last team for our parallel session today. Please welcome.
For decades, we have tried to deduce the root of climate change.
Lads and ladies, what if the problem stems from our mindset itself? Assalamualaikum and a very good evening. We are the representative from Sekolah Menengah Sains TUANKU SYED PUTRA, and we would like to present our findings on our research titled Beyond the Thermometer, Psychological Roots of Climate Change. Ladies and gentlemen, first, I would like to introduce our team, which includes Miss Kaur as our teacher advisor, Alisha, me, Adam, Adrian, and Amni. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce our problem statement, which is we humans are becoming negligent when we are utilizing all the Earth's natural resources, which is causing drastic changes to the climate. Ever since the third industrial revolution, companies have begun using more and more of our planet's natural resources, which is causing drastic changes to the impacts climate change, to the influences climate change has on our world. Furthermore, we have done our research under the objective of to find out if the youth are negligent toward the rapid transformation of climate change, to study the youth's awareness about the negative impacts of climate change, and to identify the main causes of climate change. From our research, we have concluded 4 factors. The first one being minimization. Minimization is the act of downplaying a situation. Most people minimize the issue of climate change as simply a farce, an absurd situation that will quickly pass by as an emo kid that is a person from an urban area will have different thoughts on climate change compared to someone from a rural area. This is due to the fact that people in a rural area work in a more climate-dependent environment, such as agricultural lands and local water supplies. As such, they are much more sensitive about climate change compared to others. Our second factor is negligence. Negligence happens when people knows about the problem but refuse to take any action or to acknowledge it. Most people refuse to uphold their responsibilities, which is causing drastic changes to the influences climate change has on our world. Our third factor is negligence, is greed. Greed happens. Greed is an uncontrollable or insatiable desire towards material wealth. Most of the time, greed is seen at the corporate level, such as companies trying to find a more profitable solution to an exploitable problem. Our last and most impactful factor is nihilism. Nihilism is the belief that nothing matters and everything is worthless. People who have this mentality refuse to take any action that will benefit our earth. From our research, we have concluded that nihilism is the prominent factor in holding us back as a society for the betterment of our world. We have gathered our data using two methods. The first one being quantitative method, which is a questionnaire using Google Form. Our Google Form consists of 11 questions using the 5-Likert scale and is answered by 96 respondents. Meanwhile, for our second method, we use the qualitative method, which is an interview we have done with 10 respondents and we have recorded their response. All of our respondents are youth between the age of 13 and 20 from all around the world. The first question that we have picked from our questionnaire is, you believe that going to school using public transportation is better than cars? Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see from our chart, the majority of our respondents answered either strongly disagree or disagree. This is because they would rather order Grab, Lyft or Uber rather than wait for a bus. Because not just bus, public transportation in general have an issue of crowd or is very time-gated. This proves that our respondents knows about the issue but refuse to take any action. Our second question is, you believe the 3R method is the best way for young children to learn how to safeguard the earth at an early age. As you can see from our chart, 32.3% of our respondents answered strongly agree, which is an improvement compared to the other questions. But closely followed behind is strongly disagree with 30.2%. This means that our respondents believe the 3R method is not effective at teaching the young children on how to safeguard the earth. As such, this proves that our respondents believe the 3R method is worthless and is not effective. The last question and the most impactful question that we have picked from our questionnaire is, you will change your lifestyle to a more environmental friendly one even if it is more expensive. Ladies and gentlemen, as we can see from our chart, 47.9%, almost half of our respondents answered neutral. This means that our respondents knows that a more environmental friendly lifestyle is possible, but they are unaware on how to take any action and they are uncertain that their action will make a change.
Other than Google Forms, we also had conducted 10 interviews. We asked our respondents some questions. The first one, do you think human psychology plays a role in climate change? Why? Ladies and gentlemen, from our interview, we found that our respondents believe that people who are oblivious are not concerned about what's happening around them. When it comes to climate change, the effects are either too vast, too abstract, or too intense for them to comprehend. However, there are some people who realize that climate change has reached its highest point in history. Unfortunately, these people are reluctant to take any action because they believe that their efforts are in vain because only the minority take action. Our second question is, what are the actions that can be taken to help reduce climate change? Ladies and gentlemen, our respondents propose that the government should enforce stricter law, especially in industries such as factories. The government already enforced a law that makes it mandatory for every factory to install air filters, but some don't obey the law. That's why the government should enforce stricter law and also give harsher punishments. The data we collected indicated that 80.8% of the youth acknowledge the small steps towards curbing the climate change issue, but they are reluctant to take action. Ladies and gentlemen, for every problem, there will always be a solution. One of the solutions we will be presenting is spreading awareness. As an example, BASF or Baden and Line Soda Factory is a European multinational company and it aims to reach zero carbon emissions by 2050. BASF Malaysia Sdn had collaborated with Green Grove Asia Foundation to organize a project called Climate Ready Classroom or CRC. CRC is an educational initiative that seeks to spread awareness about climate change and its impacts. By equipping the students with knowledge and tools for them to make their own decisions and also to track their own carbon footprints and inspire them to become the agents of changes in the communities. Our second solution is mutual cooperation. Mutual cooperation is when two parties set the terms and conditions for them to work together towards a common goal. As an example, a project is conducted by Mr. Beast, a famous American YouTuber. The objectives of Team Trees are to replant trees that are lost due to deforestation and forest fires. For $1, you can plant one tree sapling to replace one that has been cut down. Now it has reached $24 million. Our third and last solution is early education. Early education is education that is given to children around the age 3 until 5 years old, where their minds are more exposed to their surroundings. There are two types of early education, which is informal and formal education. Informal education starts at home. Parents should teach their children good habits and also become good role models for their children to follow. The second type of early education is formal. Formal education is conducted at preschools or kindergartens. As an example, the Japanese educational system prioritizes good characteristics. They believe that good characteristics is easier to apply to young children compared to teenagers. So based on our research, we concluded that human selfishness contributes to environmental damage, which leads us to believe that human psychology plays a part in global warming, and that's why the youth plays a crucial role in the future of climate change. Before I end our presentation, I would like to state a quote by Mahatma Gandhi. Earth provides enough to satisfy every man's need, but not every man's greed. That's all from us.
SYED PUTRA signing off.
Thank you, SMS Site Putra, for your presentation. Now, I would like to invite the audience to ask their questions. If there are none, I would like to invite the judges to ask their questions.
Okay. So thank you to the presenter for the host school. Okay. Number one, would you mind to brief us a bit in terms of beyond the thermometer, where you put here as your title in order for you to curb or prevent from the climate change. So you mentioned something that beyond the thermometer. I expecting is something beyond than usual. So maybe you can brief us later. Second question, look back on your survey results. You mentioned that the respondent also is around the world, right? Your respondent is also outside Malaysia. So based on your survey results, may I know to what extent the result is, impact to our local, mean that impact to the Malaysia itself? Because your study involve other countries respondent, it might be in terms of geographical or might be in terms of their culture, is slightly different. How can you elaborate further in terms of the suitability of the result to our culture, to our environment?
We pick Beyond the Thermometer as our title because we do not want to look at the Earth temperature. We want to look beyond that. We do not want to look at the effects. We want to look at the causes, which is why we came to our title, Beyond the Thermometer: Psychological Roots of Climate Change. We want to look at the roots, not the effect. Okay, the second question.
Thank you for your question, sir. For the second question, you asked us, since our research is worldwide, what is the effects of it to our locals, right? Okay. So, Malaysia is a developing country, and it is not the only developing country in the world. So I'm sure that our country is relying on manufacturers such as industries and also agricultural. So there are some countries such as Vietnam, Indonesia, Thailand. These countries are also developing countries, and we can relate to them because climate change affects all of us in terms of food, economy, tourism. So even though you are in a different part of the world, you still are affected in the climate change situation, but in another way. That's all. Thank you.
Where? Okay, this one. Okay, my question is simple, all right? What are the green habits, okay, that you have practiced in school that you think that you are going to practice in 10, 20 years ahead?
Okay, thank you for your question. So our school had joined a program called 3R Heroes. So I think that I would actually start recycling, reduce and reuse because I am one of the volunteers for this program. So with that, I can see the impact of this program because not only that we actually help our school to reduce trash or rubbish, we also help other organizations such as SW Corps. We actually help them and we actually contribute money to our school. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. One final question. Actually, that was the question that I would like to ask, and you have given one. Okay, besides 3R, what else? Jawab je. Yes, go, jawab je. You have the privilege to answer.
One of the things in our school is innovation. So innovation, this innovation uses recycled materials, and it uses recycled materials to create even better products, such as one of our materials, one of the products that we did last year was a chair using recyclable wood, I think. And I remember vividly that 2 years ago we made a rocket out of plastic bottles. So that was one of the things that I really think we should, prioritize over everything.
Right, thank you.
Now, that marks the end of our parallel session. Thank you to all the presenters for their informative and thought-provoking presentations. And thank you for all the judges for your time.